Hey guys, I'm back for a lock update. We're going to talk about everything from, what is this? Is it mine? Yep. Why is it in my hand? Stay tuned. As well as updates about my life, updates about my locks. Let's just sit back and talk. I'm in my little pajamas and I'm ready to catch up on all things lock and Microlocs and more. So let's first jump into this. What is this? Why is this? When did this? Okay. When? Last week. Why? Is it my color? No. Honestly, guys, I don't know how far some of y'all in your lock journey. I am over 3 years in. 3 years was the end of March, so this is April, May, June, July. Hit it. We're in August, so I'm 3 years, and it was five. It'll be 5 months on the 24th, I believe, of this month. Nevertheless, when you start your lock journey, guys, there are some of your locks that are, at least with mine, that are smaller than others. Some are larger. Some of your smaller locks may tend to have weaker spots in them than your larger, especially if your loctician possibly may have, when doing your mine. Let me back up for a second. For those that have not followed me, the way my locks were done was the interlocking method, and it's a 4-point rotation where, you take one lock and you go in this way, that way, that way, that way. And even with the best loctician, and I'm not saying that this is what my loctician did, I'm just playing devil's advocate. You may have a couple of holes in your locks, or sometimes just the way the locks lock. Your loctician could have done a superior job and not one hole was put in that lock, but the actual lock may have some parts that are a little thicker or thinner depending on how they lock in the locking process. Well, that was one of my locks on this side, and I have another one that I'm going to show you that the same thing is going to happen, and I'm okay with it because they actually made it a long time before snapping. Now, let me show you an example of a lock that's solid. Solid as a rock. So there's no place in this lock where there is a thinness. However, there are some of my locks, not that many, where there are some parts that are thinner, some parts that are thicker. Just again with how the lock formed itself. Now, on some of the locks, the thinner spot is still pretty strong. But on some of the locks, the thinner spot was a little thin to begin with. And unless you combine the locks, you're going to see those spots remain thin or become thinner over time. So be very mindful when getting your locks to ensure that your loctician first is experienced and knows how to avoid those as much as possible and whatnot. Now, let me show you where that lock is now. That lock was attached to, hold on, it's not that far. Right here. This little shorter lock now. This was the end. And I don't know if you can tell, but you can see the spot here was just was weak. And I always saw it, but it hung on as long as it could. Now watch this one. The same thing's gonna happen right here. This again, and this is, guys, before my color. Since the beginning, I've had certain locks I noticed were thinner, and most of them, luckily, thank goodness, are not like that. If I get closer in, you can see most of my locks are strong, even all the way through. See that? Solid. But this, not so much. I literally would have probably taken it off already, but I wanted you all to see it. Let's get close in, up close and personal. Let's use the back of my hand. Well, maybe not. You can see, it's so weak now you can tell. Let's get very close. I'm gonna get my camera out of the face. Get my face out of the camera. So if you can see here, very weak. It's attached, but by hair, pun intended. See that? I might as well take that off and I will. It's not going to make it. I kept it just so I can show you all that what could happen. So again, this spot was thinner than the rest of the loc. I don't really know why. I don't blame it on the color because my hair feels healthy, my entire head. And again, for those that don't know, we do not use bleach. And I'm going to answer some of those questions on the next clip for those that have asked for loc updates, okay? So I'm going to snip this and let it join the rest of the other locs in being full. I'm a strong believer in, because that's going to grow back, guys, okay? So I'm okay with it. When it's off, it's going to be another shorter loc, but it'll blend in. If not, I'll tuck it behind my ear, move on with my life. The rest of my locs, though, they're in good shape. So we're going to talk about what's been my experience since getting color. I've gotten color, guys, so is it 3 times? Let me think about it. And let's talk about it on the next clip. One update, guys, that has nothing to do with my locs that I forgot to slide in, so I'm going to just drop it in here real quick, is I, in addition to Instagram, am on TikTok now at Microlocs and more. I just got on TikTok a little while ago, maybe like a month, but it's fun. I've been enjoying it. So if you're not following me on Instagram and TikTok at Microlocs and more, hop in, follow, and see my journey in other ways, as well as other things that I like to share, like, for example, like product reviews and just fun experiences and things like that. So again, Microlocs and more all together. And that's A-N-D and. Boom, boom. Now back to those questions. This is another color question. So yes, I do, I already addressed, I do use the aloe vera juice. What do I do to keep it healthy? So the aloe vera juice is probably one of my number one things, combined with what I've always done. I sleep on a satin pillowcase. I do not let my hair touch pillowcases that are cotton, sheets that are cotton. That dries it out. And even if you don't have color, and it gives you lint, but satin only. I also, as my hair has gotten longer, that I think keeps my hair healthy, I keep it off of my clothes whenever I'm at home, so that it doesn't have a lot of friction from the cotton. So when I'm at home, I just do one of 2 things. Put it to a ponytail. One of my favorite things, now that it's long enough, I get my scrunchie and I just pull through. And I pull here so it's not tight. And what that does, it is quick and it gets it, one, out of my way. And it's not rubbing against my clothes, causing friction or picking up any extra lint. And I believe that this protects my ends from getting further damage. That's one of my tips. All right, so before we get into those questions, let's first look at the length. So if you look up front, update, this is my collarbone. I'm now here. There was one point I was glad for it to just tickle my collarbone. We're well past that now. But where I fool people I cannot talk today. I'm tired. See, bedtime. Where I fool people is the front is shorter than the back. So if you see, this is the progress we've made. Yes, locs come through. I hope you all can see, and I'm in the frame. And the locs are full, no damage. So if you're wondering about that color, let's talk about it right now. Now, one person asked me, do I continue to use the aloe vera juice? Yes. I actually use it the most that I've ever used it because I do have color. I have to really ensure that my hair is moisturized. Now, I've luckily not ever seen signs that the color's damaging my hair, but I don't want to get to those signs. So I keep my hair moisturized with aloe vera juice pretty much daily now. That was not my original stance. When I first started with my Microlocs, I only sprayed the aloe vera juice based upon need. If it looked dry, if it felt dry. I don't give it a chance to get dry, but I also don't overly mist. And I don't have it with me right now, but for those that have never seen my videos, I will share with you the spray mist bottle in the next clip that I use to keep my hair moisturized but not oversaturated. Now, another question was, again, with the color, do I recommend it? I say yes, as long as you are, one, dealing with locks that are already healthy before you put color on them. If your locks have any sign of damage, it's not worth it. Get your locks healthy before you color. 2, I didn't use bleach. I know it looks like it, but my hair has not been bleached. We used only the, my mind is going blank, but whatever it is where you lift it naturally. And again, when I say we, I mean she, because I did not color my hair, my loctician. And we let it lift the natural levels. And then what happens is when I get it done again, I get another hit and we go over the entire head from root to tip. And I have a video that I'll post here somewhere where you can watch that later on the results of my last color in March, or was it April of this year. But nevertheless, we do color from the roots to the tip, but I do that only once a year to every year and a half. Because I do not want to over process my hair. And what happens is, if you have the patience, let's say if your color only takes to a certain level. Well, when you color over and you refresh it, it lights a little bit more because you're putting color over the already light hair. And it begins to get brighter and brighter. Now, being honest, my hair also lifts pretty easily because I have very fine hair. Very fine. And as a result, my hair may lift lighter without bleach than someone that has coarser hair. But talk to your loctician if you have one. And again, I don't personally advise with using bleach because I believe that it's a risk that you may not be willing to take. I say take the longer route where you color your hair, let it go as much as it naturally lifts without bleach. If your hair is more coarse, you may can do it again in 6 months, 8 months. I say a year. And when you go over it again with that same hue, it'll begin to lighten. Now, another question was as follows. Another question that was asked, are there any new products that I've discovered? Honestly, no. The products that I used in my Holy Grail video, and again, I'll post that up here or I'll put it in the comment box. I probably will do both, but one or the other. My Holy Grail products are that tea tree oil shampoo that I get from Sally's. That shampoo, it gets your hair really clean without stripping it. I use my aloe vera juice. I use my satin scarves to tie down my edges. But again, if you watch that video, it goes through the entirety of what I use. And I've really not strayed from that. I keep it very simple. And I keep my hair minimally in contact with product so that it is not going to have product buildup. Now, if I'm doing a braid out, I either do aloe vera juice or I combine the aloe vera juice and that soft and curly mousse. And that's also in one of my braid out videos that I have on my channel. So that's that update. Up next, let's talk about, and I kind of sort of addressed this, but the next question is, have you lost any locks? Well, you just saw. But that was half of a lock. I still have, sounds crazy. I have the top half of that lock. It just has to now grow to meet the needs of the other locks. Like, you know, find your friend. You know, it's shorter by this much more or this much less. And I'm not going to likely have, again, this one for too much longer. I'll have 2 that are quite short compared to the rest of my hair, but they'll still blend in. It'll be like this. It just tucks in. Besides that, no, I've not lost any locks since the last lock fiasco. I believe on my last lock update video, I shared with you all how there was a lock that was literally like in the car, in my lap, when I looked down. And that lock broke off from the bottom. And I knew that that area was weak, but I didn't realize it was so weak to snap. So again, I recommend it in that video, keep your hair off the nape of your neck when you can to keep the nape from being damaged. Be mindful of book bags, be mindful of purses, because those things can cause damage over time. Besides that, I've been lucky, guys. If you see my hair, although I have fine hair, everything turned out to be pretty thick. And by thick, I mean thick for me. Thick for a fine hair girl. Here's an up close look. You can see, like, there is, my locks are healthy. I mean, that's just the bottom line. They're healthy. And I think one of the biggest reasons they're healthy is I try to do what's right. Now I'm going to make another video, which will be video number 2, on what I may do that some may find to be not the smartest thing, but for me, it's been the smartest thing. And that is I maintain my ends by getting rid of the weak areas. If I see an area, guys, that is weak, I'm going to discuss what I did to keep them from looking bad, and not cutting into a lock that is solid, but one that I believe was well on its way to glory. And what it did was it really helped my ends look uniform. So that will definitely be in video number 2 upcoming. How did I manage to have ends? Because at one point, guys, my ends were not uniform. And now, for the most part, they're not perfectly uniform. But for the most part, they look the same. There are a few outliers like these that look a little different. Oh, this is a perfect example. Let me come back so I can show y'all up close and personal a lock that it's time to let this go. And I don't try to hold on to it. I don't believe in holding on to it. Some people say, don't touch any part of it. That's not me. Let me show you. All right, so. Now from right here, you maybe can't tell. So let me just try to go against my skin. Use my skin as a backdrop. This is very weak. See that? This is an area of now, later, it doesn't matter. It's going to come off. Let's get even closer. There's also a lint in there, guys. Look, there's a pink lint. That's why I also keep my hair. Anyway, let's focus. You see that, guys? I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but there's an actual, like, almost like thin hole where you can see how thin that is. Now, for some individuals, they say don't touch it. It's a part of the locking process. But where I disagree in is that just like when your hair was loose, those ends sometimes get tight. It's the oldest part of your hair. So let it go. Now, if I pull on it, it doesn't naturally tug, I leave it alone. But like this, you saw that. You saw it. I literally said, as far as my touch, and there it is. And what ends up happening, guys, when I get rid of those little small areas, it looks better. That is the one. Now look at that. That's a healthy looking end. So what's the point? The point is, for me, if your ends don't look healthy, even if the locks are healthy, it makes the overall lock look as a whole look not healthy. But when your ends look good, just like when you're a loose natural, your locks look good. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking to those of you all that are new in the game, that you just started your locks. You need to be very mindful of what you mess with. However, use common sense. If you have a uniform lock, and there's like 2-3 strings and a ball at the end, let go and let God, okay? But yes, it's as a result, if you look at my ends, they all overall, you don't see ends where there are different pieces hanging from the lock, because it's not going to reattach itself magically. So bye. Now, if you're still tuning in, and this is a longer video, guys, that I've had in a while, because I haven't talked to y'all in a while. I just completed grad school. Yeah, thank you, Jesus. And that is important to you. Why? Well, one, maybe you've been following me and you've been hearing me talk about it. You're about sick of me talking about it. So I'm finally finished. And some of my new adventures include being assistant principal of a middle school. And so I'm so excited on that new journey. And being a principal or assistant principal will keep me very busy. So once a week, honestly, may be too challenging. But I believe now I can 100% give you out at least videos every other week, for sure. And on those weeks where I have a little extra time, I'll try to get in a third or a fourth. But 2 will be my commitment moving forward. If you're not getting 2 videos a week, just know that life has gotten crazy. And that's the only reason why. And in that, I will start adding different videos to kind of ease you all into some of the more. Locs will always be my main topic, Microlocs and more, but the more health, life, things that interest me, product tips, things that I just want to share with you all. And yeah, I'm just excited, guys. So if you've been watching me all this time, I thank you. It's August, so it's August the 4th. So within 2 weeks of this video being posted, you should have at least 2 more videos out. And I'm going to figure out eventually probably a schedule that I post to. But for now, I'll probably do some community posts letting you all know that, hey, a video is upcoming. Keep that notification bell on and type in that comment box anything that I didn't address that you want to know more about. And I'm excited to see y'all more, talk with you all more. If you haven't noticed, I answer every single question. If your question was not answered, it was a mistake. You talk to me, I'm talking back. And y'all know what I say. Have a great day. Bye, y'all. See you later.